It is the best show in town. It is the best LGBTQIA show. So darling, why haven't you subscribed? Monday to Thursday, bringing you breaking news Wahala. On Friday, sex, education. And Saturday, burning questions. You know, all those questions you've been thinking of asking. Saturday is the day for you, darling. Ask your questions about religion, your questions about what you want to know about us, your question about anything. You can access anything on Saturdays doing burning questions. And you know one thing, you could to be the lucky winner to win our giveaways on Saturdays. And on Sundays, to crown it all, we have the market women and shade clubs. So darling, why do you want to miss out on all these interesting things? Help this channel by clicking the subscribe button.
Domestic violence is not something that is new to the LGBTQI community. We hear of different cases everywhere in the community. We know worldwide and world large, we've seen most of the best people be swallowed up by domestic violence. From the singer Osinachi to the lady in Adamawa State, who was the breadwinner of the family, we've seen many cases where domestic violence has consumed good people. But one of these is also happening in the community again. A lady has cried out, complaining bitterly, and asking for advice from the community that what she should do. Her partner is an extremely jealous person who has tormented her on different cases, cut the phone, or even when she's talking to her mom, slapped her, checked her phone, even to as far as checking her private parts if she has been slept with and any game. You guys are going to see some of the screenshots on this episode today, and they were extremely worried. We know of this is as hearsay, but when someone sends a message to one of the biggest LGBTQI blogs in Africa, then we know that truly a new dawn is upon us, a dawn of crazy and mad people. And how best can we make this in the world? What are the solutions? What are the problems? Why is there so much jealousy? How can we cope with jealousy? Is this truly jealousy? Is this just madness? Is this mental health issue? Is this craziness? What is causing this? So many questions. Who, why, they, how? Confusion everywhere. But on Kiwi Talk, we just try and give our opinions and try and mold your opinions too. It's left for you to decide. You can always comment, because guys, we want you guys to engage this video. Comment what you feel like should be the solution. Comment what you feel like should be the problem, because this is extremely worrisome. As much as it might sound funny, this girl might actually be battling for her life in a relationship. Something she calls love might truly be coming to become a doomsday at the end of her life. I am your host, Marvelous Sacha Kelechi, and I'm always joined by Chimerizi Henry Awuna in our Toronto studios in Canada. Chimerizi, how are you doing today?
Good morning, Mr. Chef. I'm fine, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you very much. So guys, Kiwi Talk starts now. Chimerizi, we saw those posts together. It was some of the things, context looks funny. But after you finish with it, you might laugh along the way, because some things are just, you find them weird. It's something you just find absurd. But at the end of the text, the final words will make you know that this lady is actually struggling for her life, asking for solutions like what truly should do. The thing is, what do you feel like is this problem? We get domestic violence every day. That's become almost like a norm. You know, back then we know about it was only in the heterosexual community. But now, gradually along the line, it has crept down to the LGBT community of cases where we see people beating up men, women beating up women, stabbing them, even some to the point of taking their lives with no remorse. What is truly happening? What is causing this? And do you feel like you read this case? Do you feel like this is truly jealousy? Like she was truly jealous? What's your take on this?
Honestly, I think this person has a psychological disorder. It still boils down to mental health and mental health crisis. If you look very closely, you will see people who were raised up in peaceful family, who were raised up by two parents who are Caucasians, who went to school and had life pretty much laid out for them. We do not record much domestic violence from, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but we don't record much domestic violence from such people who were raised that way. More unlike people who were raised up black black who were raised up in a one-parent household, who were raised up on the street of Lagos, Ajegule, who were raised up in a poor living environment. They have learned violence. They have lived in violence. All they know is, if you slap me, I slap you back. So that has been their way of responding to anger, responding to situations, self-defense. This has been their livelihood from their upbringing. We cannot just erase all of that in one day. So I think the most important thing that we need to really talk about in this case is that most people, before you get into a relationship, you need to make sure that the both of you have a therapist. We need to create a society where people can talk about having therapeutic advices, because when you tell somebody, I see a shrink, the next thing they say, this person they crazy, so you don't go. We shame and stigmatize people for receiving professional counseling, and they need it. Because if you read from that text message, I'm just going to say it very slow so we can all digest that post. If you read from that post, there is a place where she stood with a knife, which is very triggering. If somebody, you're sleeping, somebody stands over you with a knife, that person can literally strangle you to death. That person can literally stab you. That person can literally end your life. So it's not a thing
Even
just to
at
laugh.
1 a.m. At 1 a.m. No, I'm surprised too at that post, because at 1 a.m. it will be silent by then. For her not to
If
even
not
care.
that this,
For her not to
if
care,
not that
even if she
this,
stabs her. I'm
yeah,
worried. Yeah, go ahead. I'm just surprised at
if not
1
that
a.m.
this,
1 a.m. you should be
this
scared,
has,
because if that person shouts, it's going to alarm the neighbors. It's going to wake up the neighbors. But the fact that she does not even care, even if she stabs the girl, even if she shouts and the neighbor comes to the rescue or the arrest her, she does not care. It shows I'm really worried. I'm worried. But go ahead.
yeah, if not that this has happened to me, and I've happened to a lot of people out there, said, when you're sleeping and you wake up to somebody standing over you, it creeps you out. There's something it does to you. It makes you fear this person, and it makes you shrink. That's the intimidation in this, in that area. When, especially when the person is a dictator, they try to do everything to intimidate you. They try to do everything to suppress you. They are always the victim. They make themselves victimized, even though they are the oppressor. And this is what her lover is doing. And you know the one thing about bondage does not come like bondage. Bondage also comes with good things, especially if you go back a little bit, shift a little bit to the Bible. Even the Israelites, when they were in Egypt in heavy bondage, they were like, we still a job cucumber for this place now. They give us house, make we the manage and they go. So that's what it does. And this is what her manipulator, not her lover, her manipulator is using. It's like, okay, I love you, I take care of you, and this and that. They try to look for how to keep you there. They try to brainwash you that you cannot exist without them, or you cannot be financially stable or financially steady without them. And I feel in this situation she needs to run. This one is not talking or not thinking or having conversation. In this situation where someone has picked up a knife over you, you don't stay there and start conversing. Oh, keep the knife. Oh, don't. No, you run, because this person can easily get angry and can use that weapon, and one strike, one stab, it's gone. Your life is gone. Now, even in that post, it says she went to the extent of saying, "Open your toto, make I see if somebody has slept with you." So it's not about jealousy. This one is about ownership. It's what you do to a slave. When you have a slave or when you buy a slave, you make sure you engrave them. You make sure you check up on your goat, or you check up on your slave. You make sure everything is intact. That is what she is in this relationship. And my best advice is, no matter the memories you shared, no matter how long this relationship is, this is the dead end of that relationship. Please, darling, just leave. Leave. When you separate yourself, when you're outside, when you're living separately, then you can start having that conversation. And if you see change, then you can have that relationship from a distance. What do you, Mr. Chaffo?
I think we need to start holding classes on building self-confidence for LGBT community members, and also holding classes on what's the word? I think the best word is building. That building classes is very important. We cannot hold classes on changing human beings, but we can hold classes in building um, self-esteem of community members, so they can resist people like this and nip it in the bud and put them into their place. But one thing, it will be hard in building self-confidence of LGBT community members. When poverty is an issue, when self-worth is an issue, when emotional intelligence is an issue, when what's the word? Desperation is an issue. Now let me break it down. Money is an issue. Poverty, for example. Many LGBT community members are into toxic relationships. Relationships that they do not feel valued, they don't feel loved, they don't feel any form of happiness at all, just because of money. Because that person is providing, it means that automatically every other thing is forgiven. Many of them still goes on in Nigerian spaces, probably worldwide, in the worldwide spaces. Where the bank, let me manage it, it takes care of me, it does this, it's a problem. Even in other countries, the self-worth is better. Because I've seen many of my friends, even you an example. I've always told you, why not meet a rich person in Canada and hook up with a person, enjoy your life, and you'd be like, is that what I came here to do? That I can work, I can build myself. And that's why, because minimum wage is fantastic, because standard of living there is fantastic, because you can live a good, decent life there. So you don't have to be
And just to add to that, not just that, even if I was in Africa, I just feel I can build myself. I trust myself. I believe in myself. I'm a number one supporter of myself. Sometimes people tell me, you are too proud of yourself. Yes, if I'm not proud of is it you I'll be proud of? People need to constantly look at the mirror and say, yes, I can do it. Yes, I'm strong. Yes, I don't give a fuck about what people think about me. Until you get to that stage, darling, you will be oppressed, you'll be intimidated, and you'll be tossed anyhow.
So I think that's one. That's I said that poverty, a big issue. Where people now feel like, oh, it's a community member, if he helps me, gives me money, this and that, I'm happy. No problem. Just living like that with the manager. Nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect. But every day the person is dealing with you. But every day you're in a toxic environment, and your doomsday is around the corner. The person every day with that person makes you closer to death. Two, again, desperation. People the way they are desperate these days to be in a relationship. It's not by force. All of us cannot be in a relationship. Relationship is not designed for everybody. Yeah, it's a good thing to find love. It's a good thing to be with somebody. But do not allow desperation to make you hooked up to somebody and feel like you're not part with that person. But separate. It's not by force. Yeah, and Chime is sorry to say, we are both single. We are single on this show. He's single over there. I'm single over here in Nigeria. We are moving ourselves. We still move with our this thing. You cannot sit in our faces that, oh, we are depressed, so, love, we define love. We come here, we do our job. We go to our separate life, we do our job. We're always happy, we're always texting each other, we're always calling. And it doesn't deprive us of, it doesn't make you less of a person. Because it's just, I'm looking for a relationship, I'm looking for a man, I'm looking for a woman. I want to, because of that, when you now finally get one, even if that person is trash or does me, you will not stick with that person, hold that person so tight.
Let me just add to that.
Yeah.
Really quickly. It's because most people haven't come to the place of loving yourself. They are looking for someone else to show them love because they don't love themselves. They are in denial of themselves, and that's why they need a validation from a second person to love them. And it's so much, and that's the whole thing that is bringing all the troubles we have in our community. We need to get to the point where you are comfortable with yourself, because at the end of the whole day, leave this thing that we are doing television or YouTube. At the end of the whole day, you can only live with yourself. Even if you're in a relationship, you can only live with yourself. You live with yourself, you breathe with yourself, you carry only your body, and you die with yourself. So learn to love yourself. And if love comes by, I already love myself, so that's an extra. So if the person doesn't love me anymore, I'm still okay, I'm still fine. We need to get to that point. Self-love, self-care, self-respect, self-exaltation is empowerment.
So I think we basically said it all, because there's one thing I always tell. I tell it to myself and I tell it to people too when they have problems. I said, see, no one can accept you unless you've accepted yourself. You need to first accept yourself and stop seeking validation from people. Until you say, oh, this is who I am. I am a king or I'm a queen. I am acceptable. I am this. Not being proud, not being arrogant, not being abusive, but accepting yourself, knowing that you have value, knowing that I'm good enough, knowing that I'm nice enough. I'll continue to improve on myself, because nobody is perfect. And some of us, the bad characters, cannot make anybody settle for us. Even if Jesus Christ was about to get married, he cannot marry you because you know that your character is terrible. You are basically unlivable to. You are the kind of person that even Jesus got angry. He was at the people that were selling. So obviously, even Jesus has blood flowing in his veins when he came on earth. So I'm sure that people like that, they cannot, even if Jesus came and he wanted to settle down, they can't marry them. So change your character. But if you are a good person, always trying to change, always try to make yourself better. Accept yourself and know this thing is beneath my standard. Domestic violence is not for anybody. No matter how bad you are, no matter how terrible anybody is, nobody deserves domestic violence. Nobody deserves ill treatment. Nobody deserves subjugation. Nobody deserves clamping down on. Nobody deserves to be shut up. Nobody deserves to be stood upon or bullied. Nobody deserves bullying. No matter how bad anybody is, nobody deserves that. So we need to come to that point whereby all these things become alien to us. It should not even have a place in our community. I'm surprised. And these stories keep on coming up. It keeps on coming up. It's very, very worrisome. Every single day, I'm hearing different cases. Sometimes I don't believe, I'll be like, is this a joke? I mean, they are just making it up.
The thing, and let me just hit some very serious point. The thing why we have so much domestic violence, apart from the earlier things I said, background and upbringing, is also sometimes people date out of self-pity. This person know they disturbed me for 5 years now, make I just date him. And when you date somebody out of self-pity or out of circumstances or as a rebound of your exes, you can become toxic. Now, this is coming from you being the toxic person. There have been situations where I've been in a relationship and I'm like, damn, I don't like this person. And my bad side was in that relationship with this particular person. And the thing is that I noticed I was dating this person out of self-pity just because everybody had a relationship. And this person always irritated me because of his thinking. I didn't like this person anymore. What we could do is examine yourself, because everybody cannot be good. Though I am good to Marvelous does not mean I'm good to the next person. You're getting? So you need to check yourself. If you are the toxic one, there are things you could do. You could go for anger management classes. Anger management classes are very important because some of us have not been taught how to manage our anger. So we need to learn how to respond also to stress. A lot of us are stressed up. We come back and then we have this partner we don't even like. We are trying to endure and then it stresses us and we pass this aggression. So these are key things that make domestic violence even reign more, especially among Black people. The third thing also is social structure and culture. Culture plays a big role. But when we were born, they told us, as a man, a woman should serve you, And when you are even in a queer relationship, people ask, who be the man, who be the woman? I want a man that is strong. Some people say, I want a man that can beat me, that can spank me, that can spank me.
Even in the queer community, they say the bottom is the woman, the top is the man. When you are a top and you are trying to you are gentle, calm, you say you are not top enough. Why this top they do like Shelley?
I've met a bottom who told me I'm so submissive. I like men to beat me. I like them to abuse me. I was like, Kilo Teo, it's not me. It's not me you're going to throw in jail. I'm not going to prison for you. I'm not killing somebody's child. I was struck out of my back. This boy says, he was like, it ain't working. It's not working. This relationship isn't working. I like my man to be dominant top. He needs to spank me. I want you to spank me. I want you to slap me, spit on my face. So sometimes we are the social structures that bring domestic violence, and we give them this, we give them this praise, we give them this accolade. My man is strong, he cannot try it. If he's beating somebody else, he will beat you. If he is rude to somebody else, he will be rude to you. If he is a crazy person to somebody else, he will be crazy to you. So we should look at this red flag, especially we should look at our partners, how they deal with people they do not like. If you see what your partner can do to somebody he doesn't like, know that he can do that to you once that love dies out.
Thank you for that. I think we can call it a wrap on that. It's still something I know that will still come very soon again. Domestic violence, I'm sure it's still going to come to our burner. We'll be treating it point by point. Any point you forget in this episode, we'll put in the next point. Guys, kindly support our GoFundMe. As you guys know, share to people, support us. like, share, subscribe, comment. I would love to see comments on this video. Tell us what you feel. Tell us what you think. Tell us what is the reason. Tell us what you think is the solution. I think this is one of the few episodes where I want to actually learn. I feel like learning from people, not just me saying things. I want to learn from people. Is there an angle we are not seeing to this? Is there a new angle? Is there something going on? Is it that is a new trend? I want to just know. We want to know. Well, keen on learning here. So, guys, thank you for watching. Till next episode. See you guys later. Peace out.